Okay, stop. Just stop right now. I need you to listen to this because what I'm about to tell you has absolutely shattered the WWE universe and nobody's talking about the real reason why. The Rock didn't just come back to WWE for some feel-good nostalgia moment. He came back, he flexed his power, and he fundamentally broke what made WWE special. And the worst part? The current generation of wrestlers are paying the price for his decisions. Bron Breakker, one of the most talented young superstars on the roster, just made a move that has left fans absolutely furious, and I'm convinced it's a direct response to how The Rock's return has poisoned the locker room atmosphere. Then we have Oba Femi, who was supposed to be the future, the next big thing, and he's now allegedly joining some kind of faction with motives we don't fully understand yet. And Seth Rollins? He's seething. The visionary is genuinely angry, and there's heat between him and management that goes deeper than anything we've seen in years. This is the story WWE doesn't want you to understand, but today, we're breaking it down completely. So before you scroll past, hit that like button and comment down below. Do you think The Rock's return was actually good for WWE, or has it become a distraction from building new stars? Because this conversation is critical right now. The Rock's comeback was marketed as the greatest moment in WWE history. The People's Champion returning home, the nostalgia, the electrifying moments, it all seemed perfect on the surface. But let's be real for a second. When The Rock came back, WWE made a massive mistake. They shifted their entire promotional machine to make him the center of attention. Commercials, social media, merchandise, everything revolved around him. And while fans were eating it up initially, what was happening behind the scenes was absolutely destructive. The younger generation of wrestlers, the ones who should have been getting prime television time, were suddenly being sidelined. NXT stars who had been grinding for years, who had developed incredible skill sets, were told to wait their turn. And their turn kept getting pushed back because WWE's creative direction became, how do we maximize The Rock's presence? Think about Bron Breakker for a moment. This guy is arguably one of the most impressive athletes on the roster. His athletic ability, his intensity, his connection with the audience, it's undeniable. When Bron first came up through NXT, there was genuine excitement. People believed this was the future of WWE. But then what happened? The Rock's return essentially froze the advancement of the entire younger roster. Bron was stuck in holding patterns, feuding with the same opponents, running through the same story beats, while The Rock was getting positioned for headline matches and major storylines. And here's where it gets really interesting. Bron, who has a family legacy in professional wrestling, who understands what it means to work hard and earn your spot, started to become resentful of the system. Why wouldn't he? He's watching someone who hasn't wrestled in years get pushed to the front of the line simply because of star power and nostalgia. So when Bron made his shocking move, when he allegedly betrayed his allies and shifted his allegiances, many people thought it came out of nowhere. But it didn't. It was the culmination of frustration, of feeling underappreciated, of watching opportunities slip away. And here's the question I want you to answer in the comments. Do you think Bron Breakker's betrayal was justified, or did he make a career-damaging mistake? Because this is genuinely controversial, and I want to hear your perspective because it matters to understanding where Bron's character is heading. Now, let's talk about Oba Femi. This is where things get really dark. Oba Femi was positioned as a potential breakout star. He had the size, the strength, the presence that WWE desperately needed. But instead of being given a clear path forward, instead of being built as a dominant force, Oba was caught in the same web of creative stagnation. And then seemingly out of nowhere reports started surfacing that Oba was joining the Vision. Now, we don't know exactly what this faction is about yet, but the rumors are troubling. Some sources suggest that this isn't a babyface stable. This isn't a group of heroes fighting for what's right. This is something darker, something more sinister. Some people are speculating that this faction represents a rejection of WWE's current direction, a rebellion of sorts. And if Oba is part of that, if he's deliberately chosen to align with wrestlers who are also frustrated with the system, that's a massive statement. Think about what this could mean for WWE's power structure. You've got multiple talented wrestlers who feel sidelined, who feel like their opportunities have been stolen by a returning legend, and now they're banding together. That's not just a faction, that's a revolution. And WWE management has to be panicking right now because you can't control that kind of energy. You can't script that kind of genuine frustration. Here's my question for the comments. Do you think Oba Femi joining the Vision is a smart career move, or is he making himself a target for WWE management? Because honestly, taking that kind of stance in a system as controlled as WWE is risky. But the real heat, the real explosion, is happening with Seth Rollins. And listen, Seth Rollins is one of the most talented performers WWE has ever produced. The visionary, drip god, messiah, whatever character he's embodying, Seth brings intensity. He brings psychology. He brings storytelling that makes you believe. But lately, Seth is angry, and not in a kayfabe way. There are reports of genuine backstage heat between Seth and creative. There are whispers about him being frustrated with directions, frustrated with booking, frustrated with how his character is being handled. And I think a lot of that frustration stems from the same source. The Rock's return has fundamentally altered WWE's priorities, and guys like Seth, who should be main eventing every show, are being positioned as secondary players. Seth Rollins has done everything right. He's the guy who shows up, delivers night after night, doesn't complain publicly, and gives WWE some of the best matches on every card. But backstage, from what we're hearing, he's starting to break. He's starting to wonder why he's not getting the same push, the same media attention, the same promotional machine that's behind The Rock. And when you have a performer of Seth's caliber starting to feel undervalued, that's when you get real problems. That's when you get workers losing motivation. That's when you get wrestlers considering their options, thinking about their futures, wondering if it's time to look elsewhere. The heat between Seth and WWE is significant, and it represents something bigger than just one wrestler's frustration. It represents a systemic issue. It represents management making choices that prioritize short-term nostalgia over long-term building. It represents putting legends ahead of current superstars. And when your best performers start feeling that heat, when they start publicly expressing frustration, that's a warning sign. So here's what we're looking at. We've got a situation where The Rock's return, while initially exciting, has created a culture of stagnation and resentment. Bron Breakker is betraying the system he felt trapped in. Oba Femi is joining a potentially dangerous faction that represents rebellion against WWE's direction. Seth Rollins is seething with genuine anger, and that anger is starting to show. These aren't coincidences. These are connected incidents that all point to one reality. The Rock may have saved WWE's short-term ratings, but he's absolutely destroying the morale of the locker room. He's creating a generation of frustrated wrestlers who feel like their time is being wasted. And WWE management has to be looking at this situation and realizing they made a catastrophic strategic error. They got so excited about The Rock returning that they forgot the golden rule of professional wrestling: you have to make new stars. You can't survive on legacy figures alone. Eventually they age out. Eventually they move on. And when they do, if you haven't built anything beneath them, you're left with nothing. That's exactly where WWE is heading if they don't course correct immediately. The question now isn't whether The Rock returning was a good idea. The question is what WWE is going to do to fix the damage. Because Bron's betrayal, Oba's mysterious faction, and Seth's genuine heat are all symptoms of a much larger disease. And unless WWE addresses the root cause, unless they start giving the current generation of wrestlers the opportunities and positioning they deserve, we're going to see more and more of these incidents. We might even see bigger stars questioning their commitments. Here's what I need from you in the comments right now. Tell me, who do you think WWE should prioritize moving forward? Should they double down on The Rock and the legacy stars, or should they make a hard pivot back to building the current generation? This is genuinely important because your answer represents what the majority of the wrestling community believes should happen. And honestly, WWE is watching these comment sections. They're listening to what fans are saying, so make your voice heard. What we're witnessing is a critical moment for WWE. They're at a crossroads. They can either continue down the path of prioritizing returning legends and watching their current generation wither away, or they can make the bold decision to invest in the future. Bron Breakker, Oba Femi, Seth Rollins, and countless others are waiting to see which direction WWE chooses. And their decisions, their betrayals, their alliances, their frustrations will depend entirely on whether WWE shows them they believe in them as future main eventers or whether they're just temporary placeholders until the next legend comes home. The Rock didn't just ruin WWE's immediate locker room dynamics. He potentially damaged the company's long-term future. And that might be the most damaging thing of all. Because in wrestling, you're only as strong as your next generation of stars. And right now, that generation is furious. Before you leave, answer this: if you were booking WWE right now, would you keep The Rock heavily involved in storylines, or would you shift focus back to building Bron, Seth, Oba, and the next generation? Drop your answer below because we're compiling these responses into a community consensus, and I genuinely want to see where the fans stand on this issue. This video needs to be seen, so share it with your wrestling friends. Let's get this conversation everywhere. Thanks for watching Ring Rumble. We're just getting started.